when the Council of Governors was talking about a shutdown, they were talking about a total shutdown because part of the money that we get as equitable share includes salaries and wages. And suddenly you cannot be having people working and their salaries are not being paid, their wages are not being paid. Certainly, even before the shutdown, there are some counties where the doctors are already on strike for good reasons, not even for demanding for increases in their pay. Some of them are striking because their salaries are not being paid. So in all the sectors, agriculture, like what we're doing today, health, the ECDs, all the sectors which are devolved, maintaining roads and markets, all those services will be affected. And this is unprecedented. It has never happened before where you have more than 2 months of the equitable share of national revenue which should be going to counties not being paid within a reasonable time. In fact, the Constitution requires, it is a diktat of the Constitution that it should be paid timelessly, and the counties need to undertake the functions which are allocated to the counties, just as some functions are allocated to the national government. The other thing which is, and people never think about this, we got 2 months to go before the end of the financial year, 2 months, and nearly 5 months have not been disbursed. Suppose those 7 months are made available tomorrow and you're required to spend it in 2 months, undertake processes for development projects. It is a crisis by itself. And the national government, we know, is grappling with the issue of debt on debt, and debt on debt. So the cash crunch we are having puts everybody in a bad situation, and it speaks to the capacity of the national government to drive the national agenda. They keep on complaining that the coffers are empty. Well, other people before have found empty coffers and piloted the country to even to greater heights. And I'm talking about the Kibaki and Raila years of 2002 and 2007 that show not only revenue levels expanding, but the economy growing exponentially. And in those years, you hardly heard about IMF, World Bank, because we didn't go around the globe begging at on the basis of conditions imposed by international financial institutions or multilateral or particular governments or funders. So we are really in a bad situation as a country, but with God's grace, we'll fare on. I must say that in Siaya, despite everything, we have not failed to pay salaries. When we came in, some of the salaries were not being paid, and salary byproducts like statutory deductions were being retained in order to fund activities which could not be vouched for. But our development agenda obviously is affected because the development agenda is about 3 billion shillings if you add what goes through the county assembly. But it is coming here. It is coming here in doses, small doses, and we need a big dose to undertake development. It'll be shut down. Even me, I'll not be working. I'll not be working. Working doing what? When there's a shutdown. But sometimes to teach governments lessons or to teach institutions lessons, you may require a shutdown. I remember one time when Clinton was president, and he was being threatened by the Congress. He said, let's have a shutdown. And that translated into the Republicans being sent home. The performance of this government, the national government, calls for a proper audit of how they are running government, because it cannot be. Like when they remove subsidies, like I was saying, out of nowhere without plans of how to deal with daily needs, including food, accommodation, health, without taking all those things into consideration. And one day you just wake up and say, we are removing subsidies, that we're going to subsidize production, and that production, we have not seen any figures showing that, one, they are actually subsidizing production, or that policy decision has resulted in the expansion of the economy. We have not seen it.
As well as a plant with very high protein levels. So part of as much as we give conventional feeds, we also want to promote this.
Maybe you expect that you see if they respond to your feed. Yeah, maybe the way it is.
That feed and azolla have been shown to have very high protein that can be used also naturally to support the growth of fish.
Yes. So those who are younger, their mouths can only protect the people. So that you have this. So how much?
Bila karibu wakati gavana wetu mwenyezi. Yes, thank you. Thank you. They are seated this way. Your Excellency, fish in the lake has become scarce to an extent that of ABDP, we have had a number of interventions, particularly when it comes to some fish, limited fish, but we have had also partners in the hands of these farmers to support fish farming.
Next is Lawrence or Agogo. Next is Melvin from Bondo.
Melvin Odhiambo.
Next from Ujasa.